What about video?
You do not find good men right. Very watched out. Have not. They're dead.
What about video?
You do not find good men right. Very watched out. Have not. They're dead.
Just
Kind of.
in a minute.
You do not find
You do not know. What about in a minute? What about things are now in motion?
we do not.
You do not know. Hey, you do not know.
I'm gonna.
Just Tetris.
As time.
In a minute.
You do not find
Just he threw down my enemy. What about things are now in motion?
we do not.
You do not know. Hey, you do not know.
I'm gonna.
Just
Time.
in a minute.
You do not find
You do not know. What about in a minute?
lose 500. We do not stop.
When you mean just Tetris.
As time.
In a minute.
You do not find
Just he threw down my enemy.
lose 500. We do not stop.
All right, and we are live once again. Do a quick audio check. Cool. Now we'll go ahead and cancel that. I know the audio is working, so I can turn the speaker off. Excellent. Look, we actually have Nate Williams here in the shop today. Beautiful thing. Liar. He just called me a liar. I don't know if you can hear him on my mic or not, so. But he's working on some leather work that he's been doing away from the shop, and he's got a wonderful dragon mask here going on that he's setting some rivets for. And I'm going to continue working on the second blade. I really need to let me update this title really quick because I totally forgot to do that. Whoop. Let's see. We'll make it boring. Sanding. All right. And this should be video 3 of 4, but I don't know. We might have a 3.5 in there and a 4. So we'll see. Transition that over. Excellent. Should be updated on the screen. Hey, look at that. So yeah, today is, it's kind of the boring stuff. It's all cleaning this blade up. Here's the original blade that I forged out. I think that was Monday. And like I said yesterday, I really liked this blade so much that I decided I wanted another one. I wanted one for myself for hunting season this year. And we'll see how long I actually get to keep a hold of it because, once they're finished, Nate has a tendency to just sell them. So, yeah, if you want to buy my knives, make sure you talk to Nate. Yes, that's why I pay him the big bucks. At NR Williams Art on Instagram, great way to get a hold of him. And he's actually going to be taking a bunch of our knives back and setting up an Etsy store. or something. I have no idea, but he's gonna figure out a way to move them because all of our shows are canceled this year. So we need to figure out a way to make some of that showbiz cash. Okay, it's not really the same, but no. I still really like doing the Renaissance fairs. It's yeah. But I just like the fact that the people that buy from us at Renaissance fairs, I don't know, it's something about Renaissance fairs. Is that's one thing, but also the outdoor shows, and the gun shows, outdoor shows. Those are really cool places because we get to meet the people buying the knives, and I like that personal experience. It's why I've always shied away from selling stuff online because I like to meet who's actually buying it. I like to talk to them about that knife. Every single knife that we do in here probably has some sort of story. Who knows what that story is, but there's something to tell about it. Nate just said, "Oh yeah, that was a total fuck up. He didn't mean to make that one at all." And yeah, I mean that's absolutely what happens. That looks really good. Okay, so that's how. I didn't know if that's how the. This is just just for the ears. Okay. I don't know. I'm still a firm believer that dragons do not have ears; that they have tympanic membranes because they're lizards. They're lizards, right? I mean, I get that they're a fantastical creature, but I would assume that being lizards, they would have tympanic membranes because I've never seen a crocodile with ears. Just saying. Of course, are crocodiles. I mean, I know they're all reptiles, but crocodiles aren't lizards. I don't remember what the distinction is, but I know that all lizards are. You're right. All lizard. Yeah, that's what we need. We need Mason down here, our resident doctor, veterinary doctor, but he's a doctor that is here in the shop, and he could set us straight on all that stuff. But so for today, I'm going to take all the scale. I'll bring this over to actually, not that we really need the anvil cam today, but we'll move that over. So here's the blade that I'm going to be cleaning up. See how close I can actually get that. So you see, I mean, it's just a little scaled after heat treat. That's to be expected. I only took it down to I think 120, which I did live during yesterday's stream. But now I need to go ahead and clean all that scale off and get it ready for etching. And I'm not sure if, I like the one blade. I really, this blade that I have in my hand, which was the first one that I made. This one's going to a customer, but I really like the bluing on that. I'm just not sure that I'm going to do that on this second one. We'll see. It'll all figure itself out. But so I want to go ahead and since I left off at 120, I'm going to just grab another 120 belt, and maybe I'll grab a fresher one here. Is that 120 or is that 80? We spent it at yes. Is that what you just said, Nate? I really can't wait until we can afford to get you a microphone, because all the snide comments that he makes on the side are just are wonderful. He's like his own little Waldorf and Statler all rolled into one. It's like those two guys from the Muppets, that's Waldorf and Statler, guys that sat up in the balcony. we did move. We cleaned up the leather area, and we moved a camera around today. That is kind of just an excessive camera, but you can actually watch Nate working in the back room of the shop now. So you only have three cameras covering me, but you can actually watch him do leather work live, which is really cool. As a matter of fact, now that I'm noticing it, our chat up here on the screen looks like Nate is the very last person to actually comment in chat. So, but it's just going to be kind of a relaxed. I don't know. Maybe we're only going to go for half an hour or so, 45 minutes. It should be rather quick. But I'm just going to start by I'm going to start by taking this, and I'm going very lightly. I just want to start cleaning that scale off, or blade. And you'll notice I'm doing this barehanded because if I start to feel any heat in this blade, we're potentially getting too warm. But that's why I keep a bucket of water there. Now, the only thing that's changed between me sanding this down to 120 and now, after the heat treating, was the fact that I did stamp the blade prior to doing my heat treating. So hopefully everything looks like it's all cleaning up really nice. Have one little spot where there might be a little impression, but this is also cleaning up that stamp as well. I have one little area that I'm going to go ahead and clean up as far as the outline of this knife goes. And that's just because, if you remember during yesterday's stream, prior to the heat treating and even doing my touch mark on the blade, I actually changed a little bit of the profile under the hammer. So I'll clean that up as well. It's not like I'm cleaning up the entire blade. It's not going to generate a lot of heat. Right now, I'm just making sure that I'm going tip to tang. Jesus, Nate, all because you don't have a microphone? You're back there chatting on your phone here? Like, no, that's too much. I am revoking your internet privileges. I swear to God. You hoser. Like, you could have just created an alternative YouTube ID, you know. Well, you could have just been an asshole the whole time and, pretended not to know who the hell this other person talking was. Could you keep it down back there? Stop dropping hammers. All right, so I got this side done except for the bevel, and I'm going to go back and just fix this little transition area up. Try to make it match the other one. I'll be damned, that looks pretty good. Trying to keep my lines parallel. I think that's close enough for government work. This knife is technically just for me, so I don't have to be perfect on it. I mean, I want to be, but God knows that's not going to happen, so. What I really hope is that I get to field dress a couple of deer with this year. Just a few light spots where I can see just a little bit that needs to be addressed. Just want to keep that grind even. I almost think that's close enough. Just lightly hitting the choil area. It's definitely a little imbalanced just because of that forging process I did on it. I wouldn't do this on a knife that I intended on selling. But let's face it, we know it's going to get sold eventually. That's the only way I'm allowed to keep knives. So now I'm just going back and I'm cleaning up my bevels. But I'm not taking it sharp just yet. I've never understood those guys that have the grinders. They're like cheater grinders, where they're essentially where it's like two grinders that come together. And they use that for their beveling. It's like, don't you know how to do that? It's all about developing the hand skills. And that's where all this comes into play. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a cool tool. But at the same time, learn to do it the old-fashioned way. It's like using a power hammer. You don't go out and buy a power hammer if you don't have skills of using a hand hammer. You can screw things up a lot easier with that. Luckily, I think Nate's going to be the only person talking in chat today, so. But you people watching this on YouTube later on. Oh, okay. Oh, great. So other people are going to watch this. Means I have to be nice to you. Oh, okay. Just a typical day in the shop. But hey, if you're tuning in for the very first time, be sure to like and subscribe. That way you get notifications every time we go live. It looks nice. I've got a little bit of lateral scratching I want to see if I can take care of. I don't remember seeing that before, so maybe that's new. I can still kind of see them there. That looks like it got most of them out. So nice to have my partner in crime back in the shop again, though. That looks good. I wouldn't know that they were ears if you told me that they were, unless you told me, but, you know. Yeah. Hey, Jeff, how you doing? Glad you could join us today. Nate's just working on a little mask here. And of course, I'm grinding away, cleaning up this steel from yesterday. How was your day, sir? Oh, good to hear. Notice we moved a camera around in the shop today. That way you can actually watch Nate doing leather work while I'm out here working. Just a few lateral scratches on this side as well. You can really see, depending on the light, I can really see where that Sam Mai is going to be. The other side I might have to do some creative grinding on, though, just to bring it exactly where I want it. You know, I don't want the Sam Mai going all the way to the edge. I kind of want to have a nice, I don't know, kind of a nice pattern, sort of like a fake story. Hey, brother, we all burn up steel. I mean, you didn't do something new, and you didn't do something that none of the rest of us don't do from time to time. I hate it when I'm doing a piece like, say I'm making a hammer. I've got, you know, a big 2-inch by 2-inch block of steel in, and I start burning that up. That really bothers me. Because I know I left it in there way too long. You know. Now, obviously, I don't want this blade sharp just yet. And bring my point back. I'm just gonna blunt that edge a little. When I go to hand sand this, I'll thank myself for that later. The hair more right there at the curve. The belly of that knife. You know, you always end up rounding out a little bit of the tip, no matter how careful you are. Just gonna chamfer my edges just a little bit. That looks good. I really kind of wish I would have made this Damascus, but you know, if it was gonna be my knife. Just because, you know, it gives me a little bit of a. What's wrong with my mic? You can't hear it? Nate can hear it. Apparently. What's that? Oh, cool. But you can hear it on your. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully it's not too screwed up. Barely. Huh. I mean, I can take this up just a hair. I can make myself a little louder. I don't want to blow people's ears out. Nate's sitting back there, you know, listening to the stream. We're getting ready to post new class dates up. So once we start booking some new class dates, that means I'll be able to afford a microphone for Nate as well. That way he's not just the silent guy in the back. But we can actually watch what he's doing. So right now Nate's got all of his leather kind of just laid out there, and you can see all of his extensive boxes full of miscellaneous tools and really fun stuff that most of us guys that don't do that detailed kind of leather work. Oh, there you go. Maybe it was just yours was down. Who knows? Of course, I also had the grinder going and a bunch of other stuff. I want to go ahead and hit this a little bit with hand sanding. It's the fun day. It means I get to have a beer. And I should turn the Miller Lite thing around though, because it's not Miller Lite. We're not sponsored by Miller Lite. We're in no way, shape, or form, drinking Miller tonight. We are, however, drinking Lion's Head because it's from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and it's a delicious local beer. And quite frankly, I've been on them for years about sponsoring us. Back when Pete Johnson used to work at the shop, gosh, I think there was a July where we went through between the two of us, I think we ended up doing 28 cases of Lion's Head. Then we took a picture of all these empty cases stacked up because we saved them, because that's what you do. We sent a picture to Lion's Head and told them they should really look for an official blacksmith for their beer. We'd be totally willing to do it. I'm glad Nate doesn't have a mic back there right now. He's using the Dremel tool. What are you taking down there, Nate? Oh. Is that the pommel that you need to shorten? Oh, okay. I can actually poke my head back here and look. Oh, okay, that one. Cool. So Nate's working on an antler handled knife and insetting. What would you call that, Nate? A floor? Well, I know it's a fleur de lis, but I'm saying, what would you call that piece? It's almost like a button that you're setting back there. I really like having this old vise here. I used to use these all the time. Then I switched to a much bigger vise when I moved into this shop. But these are really nice. They're called carpenter's vices. They're really nice for holding a piece horizontally. We're just trying to get any sort of ripple out of here because obviously I was using that 8-inch wheel to do my surfacing on it. So any little bit of skip on that 8-inch wheel, it's going to be very, very visible. So I'm just going over with the same grit, kind of smoothing everything out. Although it seems like I did a really decent job because I don't think I'm going to be on this very long with this grit. That's the thing. If you do a nice job at your initial sanding, you're not going to have to go along with the hand sanding. Just kind of feeling along here, making sure I can't feel any ripples in that steel. Looks like it's all going down really nice. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is taking this up to 220 and then giving myself a little test etch. I may even do it now. I'm not sure. However, I think this knife is actually going to end up spending the night in my. Oh, is that a bow in there? Yeah. Okay. Just an illusion. I may give this another treatment overnight with a certain tool I have here at the shop, but that'll take 10 hours at least. So Nate, you got to remind me to maybe I should move that camera down just a hair. Oh, well, I can see what you're working on. So weird having somebody else here in the shop when I haven't had anyone else here for so long. It's nice to feel normal even if it's just a little bit, again. There we go. So I just kind of want to get this surface nice and flat, nice and smooth. Make sure I don't have anything that I can feel with my fingers. And then I'm going to go ahead and degrease it and give it a little test etch because I want to see, I think before I move up in a grit, I kind of want to see where the boundaries of my SAMI are, where the high carbon versus the nickel steel is, because that's kind of the thing that I'm going for is the aesthetics, the look of that. So Jeff, what have you been working on today? Anything cool? I mean, aside from burning stuff up. Yes, you're right, Jeff. It is really nice to see someone else in my shop. I get what you're saying. It'd be nice to see anyone else but me in my shop. But, I have a face made for radio. I've always said that. Now, I'm probably going to hear some smart-ass comment from Nate in the back room who's listening to this. He says he doesn't know what I'm talking about. This is why we need to start booking new classes so we can afford to get you a microphone. That way everybody else can hear all your little sideline comments. Make this into a really entertaining show. Oh, that's looking wonderful. It's nice, smooth, really good transition coming down to the actual edge. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go bother Nate for the spray cleaner. So this is just, your average cleaner with a degreaser in it. Just want to take any oils off of it before I etch. Those things are really cool. I mean, they've been around for years. I like the silhouettes. I should use some of those with the plasma cutter we have here. So we're going to let that just sit in the acid for a few minutes. Clean my hands. Jeff, have you ever seen the spinning ones? The cast shadows on the wall as it rotates. Those are really neat too. Oh, Nate just said it's a good thing we don't have smell-o-vision. That's because he's working on a piece of antler right now, and antler is, oh god, the smell of burning. What is it? Keratin? Whatever hair and fingernails are made of. That's the same thing that antlers made of. And man, I can't smell it yet out here in this room. But you know, he's a good 15 feet away from me, so, and there's 2 walls in between us. But when I have to go back and grab another beer, I'll probably notice it then. So let's check on this blade. All right. Well, I can definitely see the high carbon steel on all of this. Just bring it over to the light a little bit more. Yes, I can see the high carbon steel, but I see where I want to take it down a little bit more. Basically, on the left edge here, I'm just kissing the edge of that steel. So if I can take some of this away, some of the thicker material here, even though it's not very thick, it's really thin. But I'd like to see if I can move some of that nickel up higher up on the blade instead of being so close to the edge. So see if I can do that here. That's the other thing we need is we need a camera that I can go ahead and like put close-ups under. Oh, a really good example of it is there's a movie. My daughter loves it, so, and you know what? It's actually really grown on me as well, and I'm sure Nate likes it as well. There's a movie with Hugh Jackman about P.T. Barnum called The Greatest Showman, and one of the things that he buys his daughter or one of his daughters for their birthday is a lantern with a thing that goes over top of it, and then you know with the candle it casts the shadows on the wall and it looks like things running around the room. Hey, we're working on it, Jeff. I mean, this is all just a work in progress. You know, the fact that we've got 4 cameras in a blacksmith shop, I think is pretty darn cool. I don't know any other bladesmith you know, live streaming with 4 cameras set up and a chat room and everything else. Eventually this is going to look phenomenal, and who knows, maybe we'll end up getting a production crew. So I'm going to see if I can get a little bit of this edge here. The nice thing is, after etching, I can actually see where I want to take that steel away from. So let me just give it a quick little ride through the acid here. That definitely brought it up higher over most of it. There's just one little like 1.5 inch section here that I need to hit. If I can't get it, I'm not going to worry about it. But I think I can. Right. Now there's like 3/4 of an inch that's still touching the edge or really close to the edge. Just going to wait to see how that develops. Obviously, it doesn't need to match on every single side. It's a little harder to see without the hand sanding. There we go. That's the right light. About ½ an inch where it bothers me. I think we might be getting so thin here that I'm going to stop worrying about it too much. But it does look a lot better. Oh, definitely. And now it's like 3/8 of an inch where it's still a little low towards that edge, but and I think after sharpening and everything else, it should come out to where I want it. I kind of want it to be equal on both sides. Much better. Okay, right there. Well, Nate is kind of a production manager, but Tim would be a better production manager for us. He knows all this stuff, like all the camera stuff. He's sort of a photography nerd. But yeah, you're right. I would need an entire production crew in order to make it, a little bit more professional. But hey, whatever. Not bad for just one guy putting this show on. Now two, by the way. Hi, Rick. How you doing? That's my father-in-law, Asher's grandfather. That looks really good.
Yeah, I want to get black box set it in.
Okay.
So that way, and it'll fill in.
Do we have any India ink? India ink. I don't remember having any. That's true. That is true. I just say the India ink works really well for what you're trying to do. But I agree that with that button there, like if you're going to see any sort of epoxy and glue, that you definitely need the black there to like make it seem like it was done on purpose. And it's actually much closer to historically that would have been done with boiled pine pitch, which would have been black. The problem with using pine pitch is it takes about 1 year to 2 years to set up. I'm sure they had tricks to make it go a little faster, but no, it looks really good though. The contour of the button goes with the button. The crown there. I know this is probably really weird because you guys, Nate's not mic'd right now and you can't see him talking to me. But I assure you, that person that was just standing beside me is actually talking to me. Rick, I don't often get my own times aligned with what I want to do, so that's really not that's pretty common. What's that? Oh yeah. So there you go. Nate's showing what he's doing in the other room. We'll get a close-up camera eventually here. But he's basically insetting that button into an antler handle, and it looks pretty darn cool. So I'm going to go back over this with my hand sanding. Now that I've gotten the boundary between the San Mai, or between the nickel steel and the high carbon steel in that San Mai, I've gotten it pretty much lined up where I want it. So I'm going to just, apparently I knocked my piece down here. I'm just going to take a little bit of my sandpaper. And Rick, one of these days I'm actually going to set up a schedule and adhere to it. But yeah, Nate needs a microphone because you can't hear his snide comments. But he just said I'm lying. I didn't say we were going to adhere to it all the time. I mean, what's the point of being self-employed if you have to follow a real schedule? But it's really nice to get Nate back from Jersey. I mean, this is the first time, since February? So this is the first time since February that Nate's actually made it up to the shop. Thank you, COVID-19. Jeff, to answer your question, yesterday my hunting did not go so well, but my hunting 2 days beforehand, that turned out rather well. That was, it was a fun day out in the woods. Yesterday, I just took my 12 gauge for a walk, and I was looking for a couple of places that I might want to put another tree stand or possibly a ground blind for later on in the season. And it's right next to my neighbor's property, not on my property here, but it overlooks the state game land. So I got to explore an area that I don't normally get to see, and that was kind of a pain in the butt because it's really overgrown with thorns back there. But I had another buddy of mine with me, so I guess it's that whole, as long as you're not complaining and the other guy isn't complaining, you both kind of tough it up and just seem, persevere. But if it would have just been me, I may have turned back because, boy, some of those briars and some of those, the thorns and briars, boy, it was really thick back there. I can't wait until mid-October after a couple of frosts when they start dying back a little bit. Yes, Jeremy, you are correct. The ghost of Nathan has returned. The prophecy, it's coming true. It's coming true. So, and as a matter of fact, we've even got him on his own camera back there doing leather work. And eventually, he'll get his own microphone when he's proven that he can actually be behaved on a camera. To which he just laughed. Who knows? Maybe Tim will come through with that. Jeremy, how are you doing today? How's Gettysburg? That looks pretty good. I think I'm happy with that. Step up a grit here. Jeremy, if you really miss him, you could just pop over here and say hi. Unless, of course, you're down at your shop, and then I realize popping over is more like an hour and 20-minute drive. Oh no, am I running? Oh, not quite. Oh, I might be. Oh, unknown, you're not in it. So now you are really close. And Rick, I do like your comment about no schedule during retirement. But you know what? You deserve it, man. You worked hard. Besides, you got a nice chunk of property up north there. And I can't imagine what kind of maintenance happens on that daily. Because it seems like, the more you have, there's always something that you need to work on. There's no such thing as being idle during retirement, that's for sure. Not if you want to keep your house and your property nice. Debating what I want to take this up to. I mean, I don't need to go mirror finish on this. I'm gonna give it a stone wash finish later on. I'm just kind of clearing stuff out here. Nate, was that you? Huh. Somebody's opening car doors outside. Somebody's coming in? Uh-oh. Oh, no, no. Okay, somebody dropping off a trailer, I guess. Yeah, I bet winterizing, winterizing is no joke. My house here's 210 years old, and I just noticed a place where it looks like there's a groundhog got underneath the foundation. So I might have to sit outside with my 22 and take care of that situation promptly. Of course, it's got to be after everybody at the landscape company is done for the day, because otherwise I'm just going to end up shooting towards their property, and that would be unsafe. But that looks good. That's why I like the finishing process a little bit, just because it's much more relaxed. I don't have to swing a heavy hammer or anything like that. I can sit down, drink a beer, just relax. So Jeremy, what are you working on? I mean, I know you're not in your shop. Yeah, Nate says that if you're not in your shop, you should be on your way here to hang out because he misses you. He said you're allowed to have a beer with us. Yeah, Jeff, the problem is that where the entrance is, like I've got a really steep hill at my foundation, like outside my back door, and so I'd almost have to build a platform in order to put one of those traps. Like I don't know of any way to anchor it securely where it is. It'd be different if it was just like under my basement foundation where the ground is flat, but this is actually underneath an old chimney, and there's a really steep slope that drops down about 10 feet from where it is. But I caught the little bastard out there one day. I pulled into the house, and he was out there in the grass just chewing on some clover, looking at me like, "Oh, you live here too?" I know that's what he was thinking. Jeremy, we have plenty of stools around here. You don't need to be able to stand in order to stop over and have a beer. But I get it. You got to have excuses. It's okay. We know that you really don't like Nate that much. You're just saying it for, the live stream. He's crying in the back room now. I guess the camera doesn't have that much of a resolution that you can actually see the tears coming down his cheeks. But I assure you, the sobbing is real. My microphone just isn't picking it up. Now's one of those moments when we're all kind of glad that Nate doesn't have a microphone at the moment. Oh, looks good. I think I'm going to just try this with the grip that I was at. Rinse it off. Make sure we get any oil off of there. It's looking good. I actually learned these sanding techniques from Jeremy Eichelberger. He's a wonderful, wonderful swordsmith. You might have heard of him, I mean. I used to spend many hours in my shop just hand sanding knives. That looks good though. See, sometimes the work is so laborious, you hate doing it. It's so repetitive. I mean, you kind of fall into a groove. I'm sitting here talking, so I'm not like falling asleep while I'm doing it. But you get into a rhythm. But what's really cool is when you finally get there, you're like, wow, you see that finish on there. And even though I'm not super high on my grit, I can really start to see the boundary between high carbon and nickel steel for the San Mai. I heard that beer fortifies the spine, especially certain types of beer that are made with isinglass, which is like a collagen made from fish. They use it for clarifying beer, and so essentially it's like I don't remember what the name of that is, but there's a supplement that some people take, and essentially the isinglass from beer pretty much does the exact same thing. And that way you don't have to waste your money on something like Consequin. That's what I was thinking of. At least that's what you give horses and dogs. Also makes your nails shinier and harder. But it's really good for your joints. But I'm pretty sure the isinglass, used to clarify some beers, pretty much does the exact same thing. So, no, Jeremy, we are we're staying tried and true today. We're drinking Wilkes-Barre's finest. No, are you kidding? That Viking beer that you were talking about, man, that stuff's like $115 a case. That's like drink one a month, and the case will last you 2 years. That's kind of worthwhile. But I don't know that it's gonna last that long. But isinglass is actually used in a lot of beers. Like I said, it's actually made from essentially it's fish gelatin, and they use it for clarifying. You'll also hear of like Irish moss, which is actually a seaweed, um, being used to clarify beers. It just takes all the floating yeast out of it and makes it a lot clearer. So, but yeah, nobody. Eisenbach is what you're thinking of. Nobody can afford to drink that stuff on a regular basis. And you're right, polishing is meditation. I didn't always agree with that. Oh man, okay, now I got that up away from the edge there. That looks really good. I'm very happy with that. See if I can rinse this off. Bring it over to the camera and just see if you can get a brief look at it. If I can hit the right angle. What? I mean, your computer monitor may vary, but I can kind of see some of that. I'm working on a delay as well, so. But yeah, you can kind of see the variation there on the nickel steel and high carbon steel. That's just kind of cool. The high carbon steel is the really dark steel, obviously, and the nickel is really bright. But that looks really good. I'm very happy with that. It's going to look good from both sides. Gotta be careful as I draw the tips down. But yeah, I'm good with that. And of course, what's Nate working on right now? Oh, are you pulling apart the one with the bear head on it? Ah, okay. Again, one of these days we're going to be able to, well, hopefully in a week or so, we'll be able to have a microphone for Nate. Because I'm sure you guys all want to actually hear him talk. He's got so much wisdom to share. Are you listening to the news back there? Oh yeah. Happy with that. I want to double check my shoulders here just to make sure that everything's lining up before I start. Tomorrow I plan on doing. Just let that there. Tomorrow I'm planning on actually working on the ferrules for this, but it looks like I need to come in here, take just, I mean, literally a 32nd, maybe a 64th. It's really not much, but I just need to straighten that out just a little bit. And I can do that by hand with an air tool that I have. I'm just kind of looking at the silhouette directly in the light. Everything should line up pretty good. I also want to check my tang placement. It looks a little. Boy, it's just it. So my tang is going north or high on the blade by just a few thousandths that I can see by eye. So that means I also want to take that down just to make sure that the handle goes on here straight. I don't want everything arched up. But I like that. I like that a lot. That's going to be a fun night for deer season, that's for sure. And I really hope that I get a chance to field dress a few deer with it this year. And deer season starts next week, so I better hurry up and get this done. But it should just be another day to get this completely where I want it. I'm going to end up doing the other knife at the same time, wherever I put that. So here we go. Just to give you an idea, these two knives, I made the top one here. The top one's the one that I made first, and this is actually a custom order for a customer. And I like the blade design so much that I decided to make one for myself. So So that's where this came about. And I'm going to use this all deer season. Maybe a little bit longer, but obviously, you know, February, March this coming year, this will end up being for sale just like every other knife that I make myself for hunting season. So, yeah, I think that's going to be about it for today. We're going to keep it really simple. What do we have? Like, probably only an hour as far as streaming goes. Maybe more. I don't really, I didn't pay attention when I hit start. So we've been streaming now for, an hour and 13 minutes, hour and 12 minutes. Yeah, we'll just keep it nice, short, simple, and stop the stream. That way, Nate can do his thing, and I mean, he's already at peace with whatever he's working on. But go grab some dinner, and Nate and I will both be back tomorrow. Not sure what time. Nate, what time do you want to start streaming tomorrow? We're gonna shoot for noon. I know. Do we have to run to that place or that other place right away? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we may have to do some errands, you know, early in the morning just so he can resupply. Jeremy, don't let all my secrets out. You're right. I don't even use a firearm when I hunt. I just conceal myself in the trees and I pounce with a huge blade. Actually, that's not true. I use 2 blades. It's twice as effective that way. I would use a spear, but it's forbidden here in Pennsylvania to use a spear for hunting, which kind of sucks. I don't know why. The other thing that what's that type of it's like it's an arrow, but it's propelled by an arm. You know what I'm talking about, Nate? No, no. There's a very specific name for it. And there's a bunch of guys that are really interested in hunting with them, especially here in PA. And the state still has not allowed it. It's not legal to hunt with it. So Nate is we've got 2 restoration projects that Nate brought up with him for somebody in New Jersey. So yeah, watch yourself. That blade's not sharp, but grab a glove. At Laddle, thank you very much, Jeremy, because that was going to bother me all night long. Here, put that on your left hand. I know it's all leather spacers. Trying to remove essentially a K-bar style handle. Well, you could have grabbed your own glove. I just was being nice to you. Look, you make 35 cents a day, Nate. You know. But see if I can find. Yeah, I think atlatls are really cool, and there's a whole group that apparently really enjoys the competition of atlatl. Well, I guess it's not hunting because they're not allowed to hunt with them. Yeah. Oh, you got them all?
Got moved.
I would just. So is it just a little flared out? What if you took a few thousandths off the backside there? Cutting disc on the Dremel? No, I don't think that's actually going to do what we want it to do. We want to preserve it because we're actually restoring the piece, which means that we're making as little as possible new stuff for it. But the way Nate just said that, we might be making a lot of new stuff for it.
Well, there's the threading.
Uh-huh.
Not a lot there. That whole big thing threads onto it.
I can rethread that. Provided I have.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the thread pitch right now. Yeah, I can hit that. I can hit that with a die and recut the threads on there. So, but anyway, without further ado, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and sign off for about an hour and 15 minutes. So, a piece of sausage on the Dremel? What?
Jeremy, what the hell are you talking about?
I don't know if you heard Nate, but he just said, "What the hell are you talking about?" Look, we're just drinking beer, but it seems like you're smoking the pot.
You're smoking that reefer, aren't you?
Yeah, smoking that reefer stuff, aren't you? Because we have no idea what you're actually. A piece of sausage on the Dremel? Like, where did you even get that from? Stabby eyes, smiley face? Is that what that is? I can't see what that second. Stabby eyes beer. Nate, do you know how to translate that? Stabbing yourself in the eye with beer. Sharp looking beer? I would say that might be the case. It could be sharp looking beer.
You could be looking at beer, but no, you don't want that.
No, it's just, again, it's an old knife that we're just trying not to. We don't want to remake anything for it if we don't have to. We want it to come apart, get cleaned, get sharpened, and look like it did when it came out of the, I don't know, out of the 60s at least. So, like, kind of bring it up a few years. And, but if we have to remake the leather washer handle, that would really suck. Because we did one of those last year. Actually, we did 2 or 3 of those last year. Now I think about it. And they're either way you look at it, they're not fun. Just because leather on a sanding wheel or on a sanding belt really kind of sucks. But anyway, Jeremy, you have my number. You can send me text messages, and we can keep on replying back and forth. But or you could just show up and enjoy one of these delicious cold Lion's Head beers from local Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I mean, it's not all that local to us, but this is our local beer. We really like it, because we support Pennsylvania beer. That's all there is to it. But anyway, thanks again, guys, for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow, probably around noon, maybe a little bit later, depending on what kind of errands we have to run to get some leather supplies. And don't we also have to go to Costco and get Reese's something or other for? Yeah, because every time Nate drives up from New Jersey, we've got to make a big shopping trip out of this. So, all right, cool. We'll see you guys. We'll catch you on the flip side. Keep your head up and your chin down, and everything will be all right. We'll see you tomorrow.
Just time. Wait a minute. You do not mind. You love that bill. What about in a minute?
Lose 500.
We do not stop riding. What do you mean? First Tetris. Just time. Wait a minute.
You do not mind.
Just eat through down my enemy.
Lose 500.
We do not stop riding.
They're dead.
How I am catch me. Just
Time.
in a minute. You do not know. What about in a minute? And what about you? Things are in mush.
We do not.
You do not know pain. You do not know.
I'm gonna.
Catch me. First Tetris.
As time.
In a minute. Just he threw down my enemy. And what about you? Things are in mush.
We do not.
You do not know pain. You do not know.
I'm gonna.
Catch me. Just
Time.
in a minute. You do not know. What about in a minute?
Lose 500. We do not stop riding. When you mean
Catch me. First Tetris.
as time.
In a minute. Just he threw down my enemy.